Have you ever looked around and thought, everyone else is moving forward, and I'm just stuck? Maybe your friends are getting promotions, starting families, buying houses, while you're still trying to figure out what you want for breakfast. It's subtle, but it cuts deep. That quiet voice that whispers you should be further along by now. We absorb it from everywhere. From parents asking when you'll settle down, from classmates on social media sharing their highlight reels, from timelines that were never even ours. By 25, you should have a career. By 30, you should be married. By 35, you should own a home. By 40, you should have it all figured out. This idea, this timeline, is one of the most persistent lies we're sold. And yet, we carry it like truth. But here's the thing. There is no universal timeline. There is no cosmic checklist you must complete by a certain age to be worthy, valid, or successful. And yet we compare relentlessly. We hold our lives up against others as if growth were a race, as if healing were a finish line, as if peace only counts if it arrives before everyone else's. But you're not behind. You're just on a different road. Maybe yours has more detours. Maybe it's winding through grief, or depression, or recovery, or rediscovery. Maybe it doesn't look like success from the outside, but maybe, just maybe, it's a deeper kind of becoming that others can't see. Because no one sees the nights you stayed awake, just trying to survive the noise in your mind. No one sees the courage it takes to leave what doesn't love you anymore. No one claps when you choose silence over chaos, stillness over pressure, rest over performing. And yet all of those choices, they are progress. They are forward motion, even when the world calls it standing still. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are simply on your own time. We treat life like a race we were thrown into without warning. The moment we enter school, we're ranked, graded, measured. We're taught to be faster, smarter, more efficient, always reaching for the next milestone, as if standing still were a crime. By the time we're adults, we're sprinting toward careers, toward relationships, toward stability. But few of us stop to ask, who am I running for? And where exactly am I trying to go? What if life isn't a race? What if it's a walk through a garden that changes with each season? Not a track where the fastest wins. 'Cause what you rush past, you may never fully see. What you race through, you may never truly feel. The pressure to be fast often robs us of the beauty of being real. The pressure to arrive can distract us from the wisdom of the journey. Some people bloom at 20, some at 40, some at 60. Some never bloom in the way the world expects and still live full, rich, deeply meaningful lives, because meaning isn't about speed. It's about depth, presence, honesty. You don't win life by checking boxes first. You don't lose life by doing things differently. And yet we carry invisible timers in our minds. I'm already 28 and still figuring it out. I'm almost 40 and I haven't found love. I'm 50 and I still feel lost. But clocks don't measure your soul. Calendars don't define your worth. Some of the richest transformations happen long after you thought they would. Some of the most important turning points don't arrive when you're ready. They arrive when you're honest. You're not a failure because your story doesn't match someone else's chapter. You're not late because your life doesn't fit on a clean upward timeline. You are living, not racing. You're unfolding, not falling behind. You are moving, even when the movement is quiet, inward, slow, and sometimes the slower paths lead to the most beautiful destinations. We've been taught to measure life in milestones: graduation, marriage, kids, promotions, retirement, and somewhere along the way, those milestones stopped being experiences and became expectations, became checkboxes, benchmarks, proof that you're doing life right. And when you don't hit them at the time you're supposed to, the shame creeps in. You wonder if you're broken, falling behind, somehow less than. But let me tell you this, your worth is not tied to your timeline, not to your job title, not to your salary, not to your relationship status, not to the number of followers, degrees, or keys on your keyring. Milestones are moments. They are not measurements. They're not proof of who you are, only of where you've passed through. You can be single and deeply fulfilled. You can have no degree and still be brilliant. You can be between jobs and still be strong. You can have no house and still feel at home inside yourself. The world may reward certain milestones, but your soul knows better. Your soul doesn't care about LinkedIn titles or wedding dates. It cares about connection, meaning, peace, presence, freedom, integrity, and those things. They're not on anyone's checklist. You don't get a certificate for healing. No one throws a party when you choose yourself for the first time. No one gives you a trophy for breaking a toxic pattern. But those are milestones too. Real ones, quiet ones, sacred ones. When you stop chasing the world's map, you start discovering your own. A path that isn't linear but honest. A journey that doesn't rush but roots. A story that doesn't need milestones to be meaningful. So if today you're sitting without a degree, or a spouse, or a stable job, you are not behind. You are simply not defined by the markers others cling to. You are allowed to grow differently. You are allowed to arrive your way. Some people bloom early. Some people bloom late. And some people don't bloom. They unfold. Gently, quietly, in ways that aren't loud, but are deeply real. There is no single timeline. There is no universal pace. Life is not a conveyor belt. You are not a product. You're a person, ever growing, ever unfolding, according to your own rhythm. Look at the seasons. Spring doesn't rush to catch up with summer. Autumn doesn't apologize for turning leaves while others are still green. Even in nature, nothing blooms all year, and yet we expect ourselves to. Maybe you're not late, but you're just in winter, resting, restoring, getting ready. Spring will come, not when others expect it to, but when you're truly ready to rise. The cherry blossom opens for only a few weeks and it's celebrated. The cactus blooms once a year and it's sacred. So why do we rush ourselves? Why do we act like slowness is failure? You are not meant to match anyone else's speed. You are not here to copy someone else's journey. Your life is not supposed to look like theirs, because your purpose is not to be fast, it's to be true. Trust your timing, even if it's slow, even if it's different, even if no one else understands it yet. You're on your own clock, your own arc, your own unfolding. Some days you will leap, some days you will crawl, some days you will simply breathe, and that too is enough, because real becoming happens in your own time. You are not behind, you are becoming. Not all progress is loud, not all growth is visible. Some of the most important things you will ever do in this life won't show up on a resume, won't be celebrated online, won't be noticed at all, except by your soul. No one sees the day you chose not to text your ex back. No one hears the silent scream you held in while sitting at a family dinner. No one knows the war you fought, just to get out of bed this morning. But those moments matter. They are not small. They are not weak. They are victories. There's progress in the pause, in the breath you take before reacting like you used to, in the boundary you finally held, even when your voice shook. There's progress in crying, in asking for help, in admitting I'm not okay, in choosing rest instead of performance. These are not failures. They are sacred shifts. It's tiny movements that say, I am no longer who I used to be, and most people will never see it. They won't notice that you stayed silent instead of arguing, that you walked away instead of chasing validation, that you chose healing over hiding, but you will know, and that's enough. You don't need applause to grow. You don't need validation to evolve. You don't need a witness to be proud of how far you've come, because your inner progress is still progress, even if it's invisible to the world. Your healing is not a headline. Your softness is not a setback. Your stillness is not laziness. It is strength. Every quiet choice to move differently, to love yourself more, to break an old cycle, is a new future being born. Right here in the silence, where no one sees. But everything changes. You are not late. You didn't miss your chance. You didn't waste your life. You didn't fall too far behind to come back. You are not running out of time. You are just unfolding in time. Becoming is not linear. It's not always graceful. It's not something you can put on a schedule. It doesn't show up when you want it to. It shows up when you're finally honest enough to stop pretending. You don't become by achieving. You become by allowing. By allowing grief to teach you. By allowing stillness to soften you. By allowing truth to break you open. And in those raw, quiet places, transformation begins. You are not a machine. You don't need to produce constant proof that you're progressing. Sometimes the biggest changes happen in silence, in waiting, in walking through the dark. Without trying to escape it, you are not behind. You are becoming. Becoming someone who knows how to stay when it's easier to run. Becoming someone who speaks even when their voice trembles. Becoming someone who chooses truth even when lies feel safer. This becoming won't always be pretty. It won't always be Instagrammable. But it will be real, and real is enough. Don't let the world rush you out of yourself. Don't let comparison steal the roots you're quietly growing. You're not a late bloomer. You're simply blooming in your own season. Every quiet day you survive. Every gentle truth you admit. Every soft decision you make to keep showing up is a thread in the fabric of the person you are becoming. You're not waiting to become. You already are. Right now, in this breath, in this moment, in this version of you, that is enough. Maybe the problem was never that you were behind. Maybe the real issue is how we've been taught to see time. We've been told time is linear, that there's a right time for everything, that if you miss a window, it never opens again, that some trains only pass once. But what if that's not true? What if time is circular, always returning, always renewing? What if you can fall in love at 54 the first time? What if you can change careers at 40 and still thrive? What if you can start healing at 60 and feel more alive than ever? What if time isn't against you, but waiting with you patiently? What if time isn't something to beat, but something to dance with, to breathe inside of, to trust? Because maybe the best moments of your life won't come on time. They'll come when you're truly ready. So instead of asking, am I behind? Ask, am I being true to myself? Instead of fearing time, honor your own rhythm. Instead of rushing to catch up, slow down to catch your breath. You are not falling behind. You are falling into alignment with who you truly are, with what you truly need, with the life that's meant for you, not the one others expect. Let go of the map. Let go of the clock. Go of the story that says, you're not enough yet, because you are. Right here, right now. Not in 5 years. Not after one more goal. Not when you finally figure it all out. But now. You are not behind. You are becoming. You are blooming. You are arriving in your own way, in your own time, in your own truth. And that is more than enough. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.